I think you're better off opting for some low dollar roller tip rocker arm or a full roller layout. Please subscribe, like, and share. Hey, what happened to you? Anyway, hey, it's been going on a month, I think, since I last posted. I had issues with my computer, and before we proceed, let me thank Dimitrov here in Las Vegas for helping me figure this whole mess up. I'm not a computer guy, I'm a gearhead, and some of these guys are really, really sharp, but that's where their expertise lies in. And I don't fix computers. I build engines. But anyway, thank you for joining. This is Ben Almeida. Good evening, good day, good morning, wherever part of the world you're tuning in from. Welcome. Today we'll touch bases on I'm gonna do this short video until I know I got this new computer all settled out and working like the old one was until it broke down. Anyway, we will touch bases on low dollar Valvetrain mods. Basically, I just touch bases on what's best to buy out there. Okay, bolt down rocker arms or, screw in studs. We will not talk about the extra machining. What I'm gonna touch bases on, what do we do with a stock cylinder head and how do we apply an adjustable Valvetrain on these things so that it'll work to our advantage. We have adjustability. That's an option. I mean, bolt down rocker arms are great. The Cobra 1.7 or 1.6 bolt down rocker are good. They give you spacers that you can adjust the amount of preload, but it's not precise. Sometimes a little bit over or a little bit under. Now, if you have a manual where you can actually adjust the rocker arm precisely for where you want to put that preload, that's good. That gives you the option. And we will touch bases on that on this video. Okay, we're looking at the stock HO rocker arms. And it's not a bad design. It'll last a long time. But for a high performance application, I think you're better off opting for some low dollar roller tip rocker arm or a full roller layout. So that's something to be concerned about. I won't suggest that you put a B cam or an E cam or whatever aftermarket or even a reground camshaft and utilize a stock rocker arm ratio, because these things end up short in the ratio somehow. If you got a 500 lift cam, you might even get a little bit less than that, which does not help your power. And you spent all that money on a camshaft and you're not getting the actual lift that it's advertised to be on paper. Anyway, so that's where it's at. Now let me take it off and we'll look at this thing. Now, when you look at this rocker arm, it has grooves right there and right there. Okay, and that is supposed to go towards the valve side of the rocker arm, because that groove is an oiling groove and you want the oil to be distributed right here towards the saddle, and the orientation of this thing is important. Okay, so make sure that's on there correctly, and it functions somewhat crudely, but nevertheless it gets a job done. But nowhere should it be high performance. And look at this oil deflector right there. High tech, huh? You can see that little hole right there, and it throws oil on the push rod, deflected by this, and keeps the fulcrum oiled. They last a long time, and I've seen them 5.0s rebuilt over and over and still using the same rocker arms. Okay, now the next option is what you call the Cobra rockers. This Cobra rocker is held in place with the stock type guide bar, and here it is. It goes in this way with a special bolt provided, and when it's torqued down, it'll do a decent job. 1.6 or 1.7 rocker is good. These are made by Crane for Ford Motorsports. It's got a Ford part number F3ZE6529. That is by Crane Cams and also Ford Motorsports. And it's got a roller tip rock arm right there and a full roller on the fulcrum itself. It decreases the drag associated with the valve trying to open it up, and helps valve guide wear big time, because the stock rocker arm, since it's not even where was I at? It's not even a roller. This one here, that guy right there, tends to push the valve sideways. Okay, when it's opening up like this, it wants to push it off to the side. The roller basically rolls itself on the tip without any side loading on the rocker arm. So you can do that even with a stock motor. It helps out. I suggest you put a 1.7 rocker even with a stock cam. Now the next move is a little bit better. This is a standard, okay, let me put in stud, 7/16, 7/16. Very important, thick. But what you need to do here before you can install that, you got to machine the pedestals right here, and we're talking about low dollars here. This is an expensive proposition. It costs money, and it costs to do that as well. And when you do that configuration, now you got to put a guide plate until you do another configuration, which is, okay, it's got that, which is the option that I use. And here it is. The difference between this and that, okay, that's a 7/16. This is the factory thread, 5/16. It's a bolt down, like so. Saves you money from machining, and I tell you what, it can take a lot of load. All right, this is not a 9,000 or 8,000 RPM Valvetrain. We're talking about stock stuff. So now that is there, and like I said, no machining for 7/16 on there. And here's your move. I end up using this type of rocker arm. Some are made by Cam, and the difference is got this guide bar right here. You don't need a guide plate. That itself right there centers on the valve stem like so. Okay, and you can use that configured this way. And to top it off, it has this with little lines there to facilitate the oil from going in there, not to run dry. Less friction, so on, and the roller tip helps you out. But here's the issue with this configuration here. When you put in the adjusters, you're gonna bottom out. When you put it way down, you're gonna run out of adjustments. Okay? And you keep backing out this lock, and it's gonna stick out way too much. Okay, let's put 0 lash there. A little more, and look what happens. Now that's 0 lash. Okay, look how high that is. Definitely not good. So I have a fix for that. Here's how you adjust your rocker arms. First thing is you gotta watch what that does according to the sequence of the cam cycle. This is how you adjust, or this is how I adjust my rocker arms. Take note which rocker arm opens up at the right rotation. Notice that exhaust start to come down. When exhaust comes down, I adjust the intake. Alright, so let me just show this here. What I do is that, well, let me take this off first. Since this is a camshaft that's been offset ground, I use, okay, this is the type with the fulcrum with the grooves in it for oiling, and I put that on. And I use the steel spacer to compensate for the reground camshaft to get more lift. This camshaft is based off a stock one has been reground to give me better specs. And what I do is I go at 12 o'clock roughly, I go to 1, jam the nut back there, and then I turn to 3 o'clock. Okay? A little bit more. Okay? So that would secure the jam nut in there. A lot of people will use that to tighten for final work. I don't do that. I just snug it a little bit, then I work against it. Now, watching that intake, okay, the exhaust continues to open up, and when you see the intake is opening to max lift, when it starts to open up, then you adjust the exhaust. I adjusted this earlier, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna do it again. Now, there's the lash. Turn it till it stops. Okay, that's 0. Now, since that's 0, 1 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock. All right? No, actually it's 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock. That is 0, and I just jam it against the Allen, and it's adjusted. Now, there's a way to check this, and I'm gonna do it on the other side. Oop. Once you set your valves, you're gonna wait for that intake rocker arm, this one here, to open up. There you go. Starting to open up. And then you stick your finger in there. I'm doing this. Hear that? Hear that hiss? Let me back that up again. Whoop. Once intake rocker arm starts to close, I'm doing this for the sake of the camera. That's why I'm at odd angles here. I stick my finger on the push rod, on the spark plug hole, and I pull a yank on it. Hear that? Okay, that tells me that is live. You don't need to do a compression check, but that tells you right there that engine is alive or it's got a compression. Okay, you do that on all 8 to confirm you got compression. After you've seen this example that I posted here, you got to first look at the stock rocker arms. They're not really accurate. 1.6 is what they claim to be, but they're a little bit under that. Never really over. So when you put in roller rocker arms or roller tip rocker arms, they're more accurate, they're more closer to the true 1.6 or 1.7 ratio that you seek to try to get your lift more accurately the way it's really posted on the camshaft. The stock rocker arms are far, far from being any kind of serious piece. Not only that, they don't have a roller tip that will minimize the side loading, okay, or the geometry of the rocker arm while it goes through and opens the valve. Stock rockers are just not built for that, especially for high RPM. Well, they will work, they will survive, but you're not getting the maximum benefits of an aftermarket camshaft, or even like I'd done a long time ago. Something just blew up there. Okay. Past July 4th or New Year. But anyway, hey, I remember back then with a stock 5.0, what do? Put some 1.7 rockers, and that really wakes up, even with a stock camshaft, it really wakes up this doggone engines. Now, if you run an E303 cam or a B cam, they specify 1.6. I suggest you put a 1.7 rocker on both of them. That really picks up the lift. Okay, so 3 horsepower, you're going to buy a rocker arm anyway. Okay, just make sure your valve springs are up to it. Don't use a stock valve spring. I see some people get away putting 1.7 rockers on a stock engine with a stock valve spring. You can get away with that with a B cam because it's like 480 lift or 485 lift. So you're going to be a little bit over that, 515 or something like that, plus 35 or something like that. And basically, it is okay, but don't expect a lot more, all right? If you do a 1.6 to 1.7 change, even with a stock cam, put in some of those retrofit valve springs sold out there by SK Comp Cams or Howard Cams. Any of those guys, valve springs are pretty good. And it's safety factor because the retainer itself and the lock, it's a 2-piece layout, not like the factory 3-piece. It's got a rotator on there, and they have a tendency to bounce off and eject itself, and then your valve drops. Not good. Anyway, so again, let me repeat. If you run a Ford Motorsport camshaft, an E cam, a B cam, run the 1.7 rocker on both of them. Now, on the B cam, since it got a little bit more duration, I usually run them 2 degrees advance. Somewhat heavy car run 4 degrees advance. So you're going to clear. You're not going to hit the valve pocket on the intake side. You get a little bit more peppy. Because I really feel when the B cam came on the market, that's when the 85 Mustang was carbureted. And I feel like when they had the E cam, that's more, I feel that was more for the fuel injected cars. So the added duration with the B cam, has a little bit effect on the factory fuel injection, the computer. Now the 220 on the E cam fits more towards the fuel injection combination, and then when you put the 1.7 rocker, I think you're probably 530, 535 lift instead of 500 or 498, whatever they call it, 499, and I think it's a good move. And also, every time you get these cars, when you put a 1.7 rocker, check your timing. I see them from the factory, 6 degrees, 8 degrees. They require 10 degrees initial. That's why you have that notch on the distributor. That's 10 degrees. But I see them from the factory with 6, 8 degrees. And you know what? on a sea level application, if you're in LA or wherever you're at, bounce it up to 14 degrees initial. That will give you a little bit more poop, or more scoot. Okay, not poop. I've been out of this shit. I've just been tired, man. 3 weeks, a little more, not having you guys here or seeing my ugly face with a Ford or Chevy logo on my forehead. But anyway, do those fine points, okay? Advance the timing, 1.7 rocker, even with a stock camshaft. And eventually, if you do decide to put an E cam or a B cam, whichever way, whatever floats your boat, 1.7 is still a good move instead of a 1.6 that they specify. The valve action will be a little bit more quicker. Your duration doesn't change because the ramp's still where it's at, but across the board, it's got a higher lift across the lift spectrum. So that would give you some power. What else? I think that's it. Okay? So hey guys, you take care. I'll post another long one about combustion chambers next. That will take a little bit of time. I'm just trying to test this, see if my computer is going to adapt to this new format and how I edit and everything. Good night, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. Ben Almeida Racing. Thank you very much.